She's number one at being dumb, the new face of the DNC. Gather round, cause that's our Jazzy.
Jasmine Crockett's got another hot take. No blacks and whites on a wedding cake. The Democrats' new chosen one, Jasmine Crockett, is in the news again for an old clip where she attacked Florida Rep. Byron Donalds for marrying a white woman.
Greg Gutfeld unleashed a storm of chaos during his on-air clash with Jasmine Crockett, turning their exchange into a televised spectacle. With sharp wit and relentless pressure, he tore apart her talking points piece by piece, leaving her visibly scrambling for a response. This wasn't a measured discussion, it was an outright on-screen blow-up. Crockett came in with tightly scripted lines, but Gutfeld countered with unfiltered intensity, and the result was explosive. The audience didn't stay silent either, they reacted at every turn as social media erupted in real time. If anyone thought politics was dull, this moment proved it can ignite like a firestorm. The broadcast became pure chaos, and Crockett never saw it coming.
Or literally, it's because you married a white woman and so you think that whitewashed you.
That's not very woke, is it? Of course, Crockett isn't the only Democrat who's opposed to interracial marriage, or else more Democrats would have voted for this one. Racist!
By the time the moment hit, it was already too late. Greg Gutfeld isn't known for gentle exchanges, he turns conversations into high-energy showdowns, slicing through talking points with rapid-fire sarcasm and blunt intensity. Small talk is not his arena. He cuts straight through the clutter like a spinning blade, fueled by sharp humor and a style that leaves no room for rehearsed lines. So when Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett stepped forward with her trademark flair and headline-ready sound bites, a tense collision felt inevitable. And when it came, the whole moment shook like a shockwave. The instant Crockett leaned into theatrics, trying to turn a routine committee hearing into her own spotlight, she walked into a confrontation she hadn't expected, assuming Gutfeld would treat her with the soft approach she's used to in more traditional interviews. Instead, he showed up unfiltered, direct, and unapologetically forceful.
Plantation.
Tyrus, I go to you for no particular reason. Is she making any point there?
Like this makes me wish my mom made different father choices. Because we all get sucked into this. Like, this is... If you're going to talk about black history, at least know it. This is... At least know it, okay?
If this confrontation already has you hooked, don't blink because the tension only climbs from here. Rather than taking the cautious route, Jasmine Crockett pushed straight into the spotlight, stepping into a moment that demanded sharp preparation and steady footing. Known more for her bold delivery and energetic style than for slow, measured explanations, she often commands attention with rapid-fire comebacks, strong rhetoric, and viral-ready moments. Her presence can feel theatrical, almost like she's stepping onto a stage rather than into a policy debate. Supporters see this as passion and a willingness to speak out forcefully for what she believes in. To critics, though, it can come across as more showmanship than substance, a burst of noise wrapped in polished performance.
But it goes back to, that was 45 seconds of some of the, like, Kamala, you good right now. That was some of the dumbest I ever heard in my life. Here's the thing. This goes back to what we talked about earlier. They never have a solution. Just listen to your dumbass talk. You want to talk about agriculture? Why don't you fix the lottery? Why don't you make it easier for people who want to come into this country to work in agriculture and equitation and factories? Get rid of the lottery. Open it up. Talk to the president. Like, hey, we got a plan. We want to make it easier for people who can vet and come in and work in this country. Come up with an idea besides, any of y'all want to pick cotton? We're like, we're in suits in the middle of the Midwest. Why would we pick cotton? It's like the extreme stupidness of what she speaks. I'm so angry right now.
Greg Gutfeld doesn't waste time on theatrics. He cuts straight through the noise with razor-edged sarcasm and that knowing grin that seems to say, I've already seen how this ends, and you're not going to enjoy it. So when Jasmine Crockett launched into what critics viewed as an exaggerated, drama-filled performance full of heated rhetoric, partisan jabs, and attention-grabbing flourishes, Gutfeld didn't bother with polite exchanges. He went straight into full roast mode. Each punchline, each sharp aside, painted the scene the way many observers had long suspected but rarely voiced openly.
She's so rotten, she wants migrants picking cotton. We present to you Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who made this shocking argument why America needs immigrants. Roll it, Alfred.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now. Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
When the wheels fall off.
You're not. We done picking cotton. We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
In that moment, Crockett didn't come across as a focused policymaker so much as a spotlight-seeking personality, leaning on dramatic delivery and high-energy reactions. To her critics, it looked less like an effort to tackle real issues and more like a performance built for quick clips and rapid-fire attention. Instead of defending detailed ideas, she seemed to be reaching for applause lines short, sharp bursts crafted for viral moments rather than substance. From Gutfeld's perspective, this was the kind of political theater he dislikes most. His response didn't need to be loud or chaotic. It landed because it was precise, restrained, and edged with a cool, cutting dismissiveness. He didn't have to raise his voice, he simply held up a metaphorical mirror. And what that reflection suggested, at least to his audience, was a mix of style over substance, contradictions, and arguments that didn't hold together under pressure.
Kilmeade, she's getting to be the face of that party.
I know, thanks to your show.
Yeah.
I don't know what's more popular, this or The View on Gutfeld. But a couple of things. Did you see, at first I thought she was doing it for comedic purposes, but you watch back, nobody had a response. They didn't know what the hell she was talking about. And she's like, oh, really? Farming? Yes, it's called eating, farming. America's got the best farmers in the world. There's glory in doing it. People do it, and the people don't do it by hand anymore. This isn't 1820. So I was just stunned by what she's saying. But the weird thing is, she probably left that room thinking she knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that anyone can stop her from being the face of the party, except Bernie Sanders, who's 111 years old, talking about oligarchs.
This wasn't just another heated exchange. To her critics, Crockett has fashioned herself into the unofficial queen of committee theatrics, always ready with bold expressions, dramatic pauses, and headline-ready buzzwords the moment the cameras switch on. But this time, that familiar solo performance seemed to falter. Gutfeld, with his trademark mix of sharp humor and blunt straightforwardness, pushed back on each dramatic flourish, highlighting what he saw as exaggerated outrage and rehearsed talking points. He picked apart the inconsistencies in her arguments, calling out the swings between calls for unity and quick accusations that anyone disagreeing with her must be part of some larger effort to undermine her voice. The contrast between their styles made the moment feel even more combustible.
Do you have an opinion on this, or should I move on to somebody?
No, I just... It has to come from me.
Yes.
Okay. None of y'all are qualified. Not just for one thing, I'm mad at Charmaine the guy because he should have kicked her out. See, the problem is that we are allowing our own culture to be openly racist and get away with it. Now, if a white person is offended by that, and they should be, they say something, it's like, it's not the same thing. But if you say that, and another brother looks at you and goes, man, you wrong for that. And I don't want you on my show. Get the hell out. Because I'm telling you right now, if I was not on the show, which happens sometimes, and someone was sitting in his chair and he was complaining about black men this and black that, and they shouldn't be here. And you know what happens when a white woman marries a black guy? You would not have seen that guy in the next segment. He would have kicked his ass off, because you're not going to talk about somebody that I care about like that, or another person like that. That's the problem.
Gutfeld cut straight through the theatrics and called the moment what he believed it was, a polished performance masking the tougher questions behind her public persona. That where the exchange turned especially sharp. He didn't stop at poking fun at her dramatic delivery, he pushed further, challenging her record and the impact he argued she made in Congress. In his view, the contrast between her fiery speeches and her legislative accomplishments was stark. Supporters might see passion and persistence, but critics often point to the steady stream of viral moments, interviews, and repeated talking points rather than major policy wins. Gutfeld breakdown stripped away the spectacle, at least from his perspective, leaving behind a blunt critique. He saw Crockett less as a policy leader and more as a political personality, someone whose flair and energy play well on social media but may not translate into substantial national influence. It's the kind of comparison that can generate headlines and fanfare, but, as Gutfeld framed it, doesn't necessarily equate to meaningful change.
Yeah, all right, stop it! Although I must say you have great taste. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Oh, man. Okay.
Crockett's supporters quickly rushed in, responding with familiar outrage and insisting that any pushback against her was rooted in bias or bad faith. But Gutfeld wasn't moved by those arguments. He cut through the uproar with a pointed reminder: criticism, in his view, isn't hatred at part of public accountability. And if someone can't handle that pressure, he suggested, politics might not be the arena for them. The public reaction online was swift and fierce. Social media lit up with commentary, jokes, and edited clips from the exchange, with users framing the moment like a lopsided showdown. Many treated it like a meme-filled spectacle, replaying the clash with dramatic flair and over-the-top comparisons. But in the eyes of critics, the core of the moment remained simple. Crockett stepped into the spotlight with confidence, ready to command the room, but misread the intensity of the response she'd get from Gutfeld. While she tried to redirect and outtalk him, he countered with a mix of humor, pointed challenges, and blunt commentary that his viewers felt cut straight through her arguments. It was the kind of back and forth where flashy reactions couldn't compete with sharp, controlled pushback. Even some who typically align with her seemed to pause, recognizing that this particular moment had spiraled into a political spectacle few wanted to claim as a win.
One.
Jesse, they called Musk a Nazi, and next thing you know, you got swastikas on cars. They called Trump Hitler and a Nazi and a fascist, and he got shot. So I don't really ever see that happening on the Republican side when we make fun of Democrats. It's also about the supporters. It's not just the leaders. It seems like Democrats are easily programmed to do bad things.
Yes, they are. They're very easily programmed, Greg.
I made you say that.
Gutfeld wasn't just pushing back on a single flawed moment, he was challenging the entire brand of spectacle-driven politics that, in his view, Crockett leans on. He threw a spotlight on a broader trend of lawmakers who seemed to prioritize viral moments over substantive leadership, and he did it with humor sharp enough to keep every eye glued to the exchange. Then came the rhetorical knockout. After dismantling the logic he disagreed with, poking fun at what he saw as dramatic overacting, and questioning the substance behind her public persona, Gutfeld shifted to a larger point: what leadership should look like. In his framing, it isn't about outshouting critics, staging outrage for online attention, or tossing out flashy insults for quick headlines. It's about tangible work, measured impact, and results that matter beyond the next trending clip. For Gutfeld and his audience, the clash became a cautionary moment. When political performance replaces steady action, someone willing to challenge the showmanship will inevitably call it out. And in this case, the confrontation left Crockett, at least in the eyes of critics, exposed to a wave of scrutiny she hadn't anticipated.
First, they cursed, now they thirst for blood. Jasmine Crockett is upping her temper tantrums, now saying the only way Democrats can win elections is by throwing hands.
I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. It's Ted Cruz. I mean, this dude has to be knocked over the head, hard, right?
This wasn't just a takedown, it felt like a warning flare bursting in real time. To Gutfeld, the moment wasn't only about pushing back on Jasmine Crockett's style. It became a pointed lesson aimed at every politician who depends on the quick dopamine hit of social media applause. For anyone who believes volume equals strength, or that TikTok-ready outrage counts as real policymaking, Gutfeld's message wrapped in heavy sarcasm was unmistakable. We see the routine. We're tired. And no, we're not impressed. This wasn't a balanced debate, and it didn't unfold like one. It played out more like an intellectual mismatch in tone and approached Crockett leaning into energized rhetoric, while Gutfeld barreled in with blunt humor and unshaken confidence, blowing apart the usual script. She tried to ignite the crowd with her trademark mix of charged language and quick-hit slogans, but critics felt her credibility dropped faster than a sinking ship. The audience wasn't buying it this time. Instead of cheers or sympathy, there was that heavy, uncomfortable quiet, the kind that settles in when a grand performance misfires in front of millions. Crockett tried to regain her footing, rapid-firing phrases like systemic oppression, voice of the people, and the ever-familiar let me finish, but each line bounced off Gutfeld's steady, unbothered expression. It was like watching someone try to put out a blazing kitchen fire by shouting at it loud, dramatic, and ultimately no match for the moment.
Now, she claims that she wasn't talking about Abbott's wheelchair at all. Yet she's mentioned Abbott's wheels before. In 2022, she posted Beto's rolling around the state. Where's Abbott rolling to? And according to the Washington Free Beacon, Crockett also liked several Facebook comments referring to Abbott as Hot Wheels back in 2020.
Meanwhile, Gutfeld appeared almost unbothered, as if he had all the time in the world, methodically dismantling Crockett's points with a calm, precise, and razor-sharp style. His delivery had a smooth, almost comedic rhythm, as if saying, "Thank you for your performance. Please hold while reality checks in." He wasn't just keeping pace, he seemed to glide through the exchange effortlessly, while Crockett scrambled to regain control. The audience reacted in real time, latching on to every sarcastic remark and witty retort. Laughter rippled through the room, heads turned, and what some had seen as a bold, energetic display quickly began to feel like a cautionary lesson in what happens when dramatic flair meets unyielding scrutiny. Supporters rushed to defend her, posting tweets, think pieces, and emotional responses, but in the eyes of critics, the moment had already left a mark. This wasn't a minor stumble, it felt like a full public misstep unfolding live. Crockett's performance, once commanding attention, now seemed to highlight the gap between spectacle and substance, while Gutfeld, calm and composed, exited the scene with the kind of ease that made the clash feel like a one-sided lesson in measured poise.
How long is she going to keep this thing that she wasn't talking about, the wheelchair?
Yeah. Come on, babe, you know you're full of and all that, Jasmine. I think what happened was AOC was like, you guys, I need to triangulate and be serious now because I'm going to be a senator. So someone has to be a talking attention whore. Who's it going to be? And Jasmine raised her hand and goes, excuse me, Congresswoman Cortez, I speak jive.
What it is, mama.
This wasn't just a minor clash, it felt like a full-scale cultural critique, not only of Jasmine Crockett but of a broader trend in politics. The blurring of spectacle with substance, clout with competence, and theatrics with leadership. What made the moment even more striking was Gutfeld's calm. He didn't raise his voice, slam the table, or shout. Instead, he delivered razor-sharp mockery and pointed observations with the timing of a late-night comic and the patience of someone who's seen this routine countless times. He wasn't angry, he was unimpressed, and that cool detachment landed harder than any fury ever could. Crockett remained on stage, microphone in hand, hoping for applause that never came. To critics, it looked like politics turned into awkward karaoke, pouring energy and emotion into a performance that ultimately fell flat, because volume is not vision and viral moments do not replace real governance. The confrontation became less about left versus right and more about substance versus spectacle, reality versus showmanship. From this perspective, Gutfeld didn't just critique one politician, he highlighted a trend, the rise of viral-minded lawmakers who treat Congress like a stage, every bill like a script, and every appearance like a chance for clicks. The warning was clear: politics is not a reality show, it's not a platform for clout chasing, and it's not a place where slogans substitute for results. When performance overtakes purpose, commentators like Gutfeld are ready with wit sharp enough to expose it. And in this instance, Crockett experienced that lesson in real time: live in front of millions, with little room to recover and no applause to rescue the moment.